welcome to the Planning and Highways Committee meeting today, Tuesday the 17th of December. Just got to go through some house rules, if you can bear with me please. So thank you to all members of the public, councillors and officers who are joining us for today's meeting. Councillors and officers are reminded of their commitment to the Civility Respect Pledge and to be mindful of this during tonight's meeting. Please be aware that the Council is video recording this meeting and this will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. I would just like to highlight some key points of the meeting format. Please can I ask everyone to have their phones turned off or to silent. The fire exits are via the doors out of the chambers and down the external fire escape stairs or via the main entrance that you entered the building through. In the event of a fire, the lift should not be used. The assembly point is outside the Royal Mail Parcel Office on West Street. Please remain seated unless you are invited to speak or need to take a comfort break. The toilet facilities are out in the corridor you entered through. Members of the public are invited to participate in the meeting with the key points as follows. Public participation is limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person and must be related to an item of business on the agenda. As Chair, I will interject if needed to enforce this. For those looking to speak specifically about a planning or tree works application on the agenda, you will be invited to speak immediately before the committee considers that application. For those looking to speak on non-planning application business, you will be invited to speak during the public participation agenda item. Please raise your hand to show you wish to speak and I will invite you to speak. If you are comfortable standing, please do so to ensure you can be heard across the room. You do not need to state your name when you start speaking if you do not wish to. But we ask that you clearly state which agenda item you are speaking about. I would ask that the participants looking to leave the meeting wait until the end of an agenda item to limit distraction for other participants. Members of the public looking to leave the building will need to be escorted out by a council officer. If the meeting goes into confidential session, a short 2-minute break will be held to allow members of the public to leave. To all present, please remember to show respect to others in the meeting and avoid interrupting where possible to enable others to follow the meeting. If any councillor feels concerned about any aspect of the meeting or discussion, please clearly state point of order. I will then gesture for you to elaborate. If anyone present is felt to be behaving unacceptably, they can be ejected from the meeting by resolution. Thank you for listening. On behalf of the Council, I'd like to thank everyone for attending this Town Council meeting. So we move on to agenda item 1, apologies. Agenda item 2, disclosure of interest. To deal with any disclosure by members of any disclosure of pecuniary interest and interests other than pecuniary interests is defined under the Seaford Town Council Code of Conduct and Localism Act 2011 in relation to matters on the agenda. Councillor Ballman.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. TW 24/0124/TPO. I know I'm friends with the applicant, so I won't be taking part in the discussion or voting.
Okay, thank you.
Just LW 240647 and 48, Fitzgerald House, Croft Lane. A lot of us know Charlie Grimwood as a
local historian.
Yes, local historian and activist in the town as such, but it doesn't affect me in this context, but I just thought to bring it to attention, just so we know who he is and he would have done the work behind it.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Thank you, Councillor Hanneman. Anybody else? Item 3, public participation. To deal with any questions or brief representations from members of the public in accordance with the relevant legislation and Seaford Town Council policy. In accordance to Town Council policy, members of the public wishing to speak on individual planning applications may do so immediately before each planning application. So any members of the public like to speak? Well, I think the majority of you here are for the local plan. We're not discussing the local plan in detail tonight. This is basically the information for the process of what's happening next year. So, right, it's, yes,
Thank
and
you.
you've got 4 minutes.
Thank you. So I'd like to speak about agenda item 4, the local plan. A number of residents had a meeting with Councillors Cohen and Frankham from Lewes District Council yesterday. Councillor Cohen is on the Lewes District Council Local Plan Steering Group, and Councillor Frankham is on the Lewes District Council Planning Committee. They confirmed that central government are discussing changes to the planning rules. We're not talking about devolution, which is 2 or 3 years away. The timescale for these planning changes is much closer. Central government are proposing to remove planning committees and residents from the planning process. If a site is in the local plan and meets policies, local authority planning officers will approve the application without consultation. The local community will no longer have a voice. For this reason, the forthcoming local plan consultations are of the highest importance. The policies and sites contained in the draft local plan will shape the future of Seaford.
Yep.
The National Planning Policy Framework, which is the Bible for planning decisions, makes no provision for statutory levels of affordable housing, starter homes, accessible homes, etc. It's the policies in the local plan that will need to address these issues. Seaford has enough executive homes. We need the starter homes and the homes for older people to downsize to if our town is to thrive. The leader of Lewes District Council has issued a press release asking as many residents as possible to respond to the consultation, as Lewes needs our input to demonstrate to central government they are unable to meet the mandatory housing target. Residents, officers and councillors need to work together to ensure the correct development takes place in appropriate places while we still have a say. How are Lewes and Seaford councils to engage with Seaford residents? I would suggest the majority of residents are not aware of these groundbreaking changes. We learned that Seaford is only to be granted one 3-hour local plan engagement session, which will be held in an evening in January. Many elderly residents will not travel out in the dark, so will not participate. There will be a half-day session in Newhaven. However, there is very limited parking and it is a long walk from the bus stop for anyone elderly or disabled. Councillor Cohen mentioned other town and parish councils will be holding their own local plan engagement sessions, so separate from Lewes District, as they recognise the importance of these consultations. How is Seaford Town Council planning on engaging with residents? There's going to be a month-long exhibition in the council offices in Newhaven. I asked Councillor Cohen if our town could also have an exhibition to enable as many residents as possible to have a chance to review these important changes. If Seaford Town Council could make a room available, whether here, the View, wherever. He thought it was a very good idea, but said it was for Seaford Town Council to take the initiative to approach Lewes District Council Planning Department to make such a request. So the ball is therefore in your court. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Yes.
Good evening, Chair and everyone. I again wanted to speak on agenda item number 4, the local plan. As the proposed plan will form the basis for planning in our town, and it's the biggest thing to be happening here, and as residents we need a voice. And in fact the local plan could be even more important with the updates to the NPPF. Councillor Lawrence O'Connor of the Cabinet, member for planning, stated we need to make sure we gather all the evidence carefully on why we can't meet the government's targets. Our district is constrained by the coast and the South Downs National Park, so we must continue to press the case for this to be recognised. So I'm pleased that this is coming here today and that we're going to have hear the discussion about the engagement. and how we can give feedback. I would say that in January we leaflet dropped quite a few houses close to Chinkton Field and found between 15 to 20% of the residents were unable to go to an evening venue or to come outside of Seaford due to either disabilities or caring. So consideration to elderly residents. In addition, the South Downs National Park, when they did their local plan, they had quite an interactive thing for hoping to engage with younger people, and I wonder whether or not that could be brought forward at any of the next, because we've got another regulation 18 coming up later. Please can the town website be updated to show the survey that's currently online with Lewis, because that finishes at the end of this year, Tuesday the 31st of December. And my final thing was about full council, that full council agreed that matters relating to the local plan would go before them. So was there a way of that meeting cycle ensuring that that happened? Thanks very much.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak at this point? Because once I open it up to the committee, you won't be able to...
Can I say one sentence, please?
Quickly.
It was at full council, it will be minuted that it was agreed the local plan would be discussed. Councillor Bristow made the point it was imperative that the local plan did come before full council. So that is in the minutes.
Thank you. Right. Okay, so I'll open it up to the committee. On page 6, agenda item 4. We put this before the planning applications this time. So to present details of Lewis District Council local plan consultation and recommend Seaford Town Council's involvement. So we'd like to lead on this one. Okay, you're good. Councillor Richard Honeyman.
I think we also haven't mentioned the local the neighbourhood plan, which actually finished at the same time. So I don't know if we want to put it on the agenda per se, but I think that should be. You could argue a neighbourhood plan is more of interest to.
We're not doing neighbourhood.
I know we're not, but you could argue it's more interested.
Or do you mean the South Downs National?
No, the neighbourhood plan does end at the same time as the local plan. It was started at the same time as the local plan, wasn't it? They both coincided, didn't they? With the anyway, we won't talk about the neighbourhood plan tonight. The timetable is very fitting, and I would obviously encourage residents to basically at least register with the District Council's local plan website anyway, so they get all the updates as well we do as well, and also as a collective group as the officers at the Town Council here. Yes, it's always interesting, obviously talking to other councils that do different, well, they're not members here but elsewhere, and obviously they would obviously like town councils to engage as much as possible. And obviously every town and village is going to do it slightly different way within the Lewis district area. So I don't think you can necessarily say just what Newhaven's doing, we should copy or vice versa. I don't think that's really necessarily going to work. We know it's going to be more high profile, especially once we can move into the new year when it gets sort of
that's the problem.
But this side of Christmas, I think it's more about the process, isn't it? I don't know if we're going to do more than what we've basically agreed, but and give updates, or will it be more this council we're doing that? That's just something I've just sort of for now. Let's
Could I just comment very freely?
No, that's good to be the chair anyway. Thank you.
Just to add some points on this before your discussion, is that this is an additional phase that's been put in. So this isn't the regulation 18. This is an additional part that they've added. And I've been attending the steering groups that were mentioned, and Lewis District Council really want to encourage as many people as possible to give their feedback at this point. Also to build up momentum for when they do the later consultation. Another thing I wanted to add in is that there are some more. So there's going to be 6 sessions throughout the Lewis district that will be taking place at various locations and various points, and anyone can go to any sessions, whether that's in the town, whether it's outside of the town, because they'll be discussing the local plan as a whole, not just area specific. There's also going to be a Zoom online webinar on the 14th of January, which is open again to anyone and everyone to attend. That will also be recorded and made available, so if anyone couldn't attend that, they can also do that. The session in Seaford is going to be on the 30th of January at Downs Leisure Centre, between 6 and 9 p.m. I note the point that the member of the public made about the pre-consultation survey isn't on our website, and I'll have a look and make sure that's on there tomorrow. That's an oversight on my part. And then, other than that, I also note the point that was made about making space available in Seaford for people to come. I have actually put in that request to Lewes District Council. The Tourist Information Centre downstairs is actually run by Lewes District Council, so I put it to them that they could obviously work together. That's their office. So I have already put that to them, similar to how we did that with the Napad plan, where we set up a station downstairs. So there are quite a few more things going on behind the scenes, but because quite a lot of things aren't necessarily confirmed, obviously that might not be out there yet. But and then other than that, we will just be looking to share as much as we can. And also just one more thing to note is that the next, I'm looking at different venues for the next planning meeting, so that we're in larger venues, so that we can obviously accommodate more members of the public, gather feedback, which can help then inform the town council's response. So it's just to have it.
But the problem with Seaford is because of the devil and the deep blue sea. Deep blue sea is the sea, and the devil is the fact we're basically shrouded by Seaford National Park. And how you can fit in so many houses in what we've got, it's going to be an absolute miracle if somebody can do it. So I'm open for offers, and I wish members of the public will actually get involved in this, because it's nothing short of a miracle what we're being asked to do. So I'm looking forward to the 30th of January for an open meeting for members of the public, and honestly, I don't know what to do.
Anybody else? Councillor Olivia Honeyman?
Yeah, there was talk, and I think we discussed this before, about different ways how we can promote this out, because obviously not everyone's on websites, not everyone's on computers, emails and all the rest of it. How is that something that Seaford Town Council is going to be able to do to make sure more people are aware that the post is going to go up around town or something?
Through you, Chair. We are going to be provided with paperwork and posters that we'll be putting out on our notice boards and making available downstairs. I haven't seen them yet, so I'm not sure what the content is. But it is a difficult one because it is Lewes District Council's consultation, but we will do what we can to help promote that. I'm not sure what the consultation form is going to be. I'm not sure whether they have mentioned using an online. They're using an online system to gather the feedback. So one of the things they're looking to do in the public sessions, in the council sessions, is actually show how to use that, because there'll be some people that will find it difficult to use that, and I think they're actually going to have, say at Downs Leisure, they'll have some set up so people can actually have a look and see how it works. That's what was discussed in the steering group, and we talked about. I think they're going to keep in contact with us because we talked about whether we might need to help people. You know, if someone can't fill it in, whether they want to come in. But I don't know whether that will be TIC downstairs. So it's a bit of an unknown. Is what I'm trying to say. But
is it possible to push for an extra?
I tried. Yeah, I tried.
It's just the evening.
Yeah, it's just the evening, and they came back to me with saying it's the extra phase, and it's when they do the regulated in 18 that they'll look to do it. So I asked for a morning and an evening, and a weekend, but we just booked the evening.
Through you, Chair. What's the last date we have to get this information across?
As our response, it's the 29th of. I want to say it's the 29th of February. Oh, sorry, 28th of February.
This is-
So we're considering our response
Yeah.
on the 20th. Yeah.
So not much time really, have we?
No.
Just a couple of months. Okay, thank you.
But they did want to start this over Christmas period, so
Yeah, well done then.
well done
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the officers who attended and pushed it.
Yeah,
But
the
it started-
clerks in the steering group said absolutely
Quite
not.
right.
No.
Mm.
Yeah.
The time's against us.
I mean, sorry again through you, Chair.
Yeah.
I'm more than open to any suggestions that any councillors might have as how we could get this out there apart from what we're already looking to do. So if you're speaking to any members of the public and they have any ideas or there's any ways that we can help, the only thing that we are limited on is our own resources in terms of running our own sessions. But that's what I'm saying about trying to make sure our meetings where we'll be considering drafting our response and finalising our response, we're in a space big enough and allow a bit more time for some
No time.
to and fro, a bit more of a facilitation sort of session.
Dear me.
Councillor Olivia.
I was just going to say, just another place to put stuff in open secrecy, because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
something a lot of people actually pick up.
That's a good idea, Councillor.
Just better than the local
Mm.
paper. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because not everyone picks up the Sussex Express, and I don't know if, sorry, Isabel, if there's, I know you mentioned about posters, is whether we can do that stuff at the high street. I know it's on the notice boards, but they're not always much in the centre of town. Doctor's surgery, places like that,
Yeah,
if that's possible.
yeah, throughout the town.
Perhaps on those words, on the railings here, people tend to look at those as well.
So, notices within shops and what have you, sort of flood the town.
That's if the district council give us enough of these posters.
We're meant to be getting like a comms pack, so I'm waiting to get that. I mean, it wouldn't stop us from being able to photocopy something, I'm sure, if we, it's pennies, really.
And maybe like people who are online that, will get an attachment and then we can share it with the public.
Yeah.
We can
Sort
use our get it out there. Right. Any more comments? No?
That's against the wall.
Yeah. So I think the main thing, and also try and get people to fill in the survey before the end of the year. Try and get so many people to do that. Okay. Right. I think we can take all the recommendations together. Everyone's happy with that?
So sorry, Chad, just one more thing through you. It's just for councillors to note that the session, the Lewis District Council led Parish and Town Councillors briefing is at 5 o'clock on the 9th of January, which is on the date of our next planning and highways meeting. What the plan is for that is that if any, I know that some of you will be working, but any of you that can make it, is I've told Lewis District Council that we'd all be sat here on the screen.
I'll be there.
So if any of you could come, but again, that session is meant to teach us about the consultation, so that if we get any questions from members of the public, we can help to put out that information and also show us what the consultation software is that they're using. So if I'd really like it if as many of us could be there as possible, just so that we can help spread
5 o'clock,
Councillor Buchanan?
Thank you, Chair. Actually, on that note about coinciding with planning and highways, you mentioned the 30th of January session,
So that is something that Lewis District Council's running.
and that's from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m.
Yes,
That in my diary says planning and highways.
which I'm looking to move.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sorry. When Lewis District Council put that date out, I'm looking to move our planning and highways meeting to the following week so that we've been able to go to that session. Then hopefully the following week we can then start discussing our draft at that meeting. That's one of the ones I'm looking to do at a larger venue. Sorry, you're right, I hadn't noted that.
On the ball and all.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So, so we're happy to, one is to note the contents of the report. 2, to consider to recommend the Town Council involvement in Lewes District Council's consultation on the plan, local plan to A, promote and share Lewes District Council's engagement communications, including its pre-consultation survey mentioned at section 3.6. B, attend and promote Lewes District Council-led engagement events in Seaford. C, attend Lewes District Council-led parish and town councillors briefing proposed for 5 p.m. 9th of January 2025. But this is that
It
still,
is now confirmed, but I will email.
Yeah. And D, finalise the Town Council's response to the consultation at this Planning and Highways Committee meeting on the 20th of February 2025. Everybody clear with that? So can I have a proposer and a seconder, please? Proposed by Councillor Boreman, seconded by Councillor Clay, and all those in favour. And that is unanimous. Thank you everybody for coming. You're quite welcome to stay. We'll start.
Right, here we go.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 5, planning applications received in the week commencing Monday the 11th of November. There was none. And then planning applications received week commencing Monday the 18th of November. LW/24/0713 35 Upper Chinkton Gardens. Erection of a single-storey rear extension with decking linking the existing detached garage to the house. Addition of hard standing to the front and alterations to the fenestration. Okay. So we've got no members of the public, so over to the committee. Who would like to lead? Councillor Bowman.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I would support this. It's a spacious area anyway, on that corner site, in off the top of the bit where it becomes a square. Is it a square at the top of Chinkton, isn't it? Gardens. It's interesting because the next door is basically in the other road, isn't it? In the Richardson Way, which I found interesting. So in that sense, the extension wouldn't get in the way of the neighbours or vice versa. So I'd be happy to support.
Thank you.
Yeah, Chair, I'll support that. I'm just glad we're not paying for the foundations. They're going to cost an absolute fortune. But money doesn't come in, so I'm glad to support it. It's a nice extension.
Yeah.
It's in keeping with the existing building. Okay, albeit it's on a bit of sloping land. But I tell you what, them foundations are cost an absolute fortune. But it's up about 15 grand just for the foundation. But I say it's not my house, so yeah, I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, so you're seconded.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
That's a complicated joint there as well.
Yes.
It's more of an observation, but obviously the way it's quite interesting how different architects do different things, and I find this one quite a lot of words, so it's opening it all up. So I just wanted to make that as an observation.
Well, to be honest with you, Councillor, when I did my drawings like that, which was all illustrated with descriptions on them. So when it went to planning, they went through straight away. So that's exactly the, and that joins the bottom. If you don't know what I'm saying, so that one there, yeah, right. That is at the bottom of a hip joint, and what you do, you tie it together. And actually, that thing there used to be called a dragon tie, and it held the hip joint together to prevent the roof from spreading out. Just not mention that's all.
Thank you, Councillor Lord, for that information. Okay, so can I have a show of hands for supporting this application? That's unanimous.
It says dragon tie, though, look. Dragon tie prevents spread of hip rafter. Amazing, yeah.
LW stroke 24 stroke 0710 18A Chinkton Road, single storey rear extension. Open to the committee. Councillor Bourne.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I totally support this. It's very small, respectable rear extension, so happy to support it.
Does that find a seconder? Sir Olivia? Any other comments? So can I have a show of hands of supporting the application? That's unanimous. Planning applications received in the week commencing Monday the 25th of November. LW stroke 24 stroke 0647 and LW stroke 24 stroke 0648 Fitzgerald House, Croft Lane. Do you want me to read all this?
No.
Okay.
Right,
I do it mainly for the camera, to be perfectly honest.
I think to be honest with you, it's
Councillor Lord.
yes, thank you. Sorry, Chuck. It's one of Charlie Grimball's, and I went up and had Lucas, to be honest with you, and he's far more knowledgeable than I will ever be in a million years, right? And he's actually doing some work there. And I did speak to him about this as a matter of interest, right? And Joe went about Bungaroos Wall, right? There's Bungaroos walls in there which are not identified, right? And he's not identified the cavity walls either. But he's assured me the work they're going to carry out will be in keeping with the existing structure. He was going to come here tonight and do a bit of a talk about it. So that's why I'm going to support it. If Charlie does it, it's good enough for me.
Okay. Councillor Buchanan.
No, thank you, Chair. Looking through the report that accompanied this, the photographs there clearly illustrated that the reasons why damp were occurring. And
You're quite right.
all these issues that they're addressing and putting right are for all the right reasons.
Yes.
I would support this also.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Councillor Olivia Hunneman.
Yeah, I went and had a quick look as well the other day to see, as this is the reason why doing it. It makes total sense what they're trying to do. The thing I had a query on was the chimney elevation. In the neighbourhood plan it says about maximum, that's the page number one, chimney height can't be more than 1 metre than existing roof. At one point I found this brick count thing, had to try and work out, but I couldn't work out, well it sort of looks like they're more than 1 metre, but is that because they're existing ones and they're, because they're obviously changing it, but it says it can't be more than 1 metre. And that's why I tried to do find out if you could work out how many bricks, and then, but you needed to know the mortar depth and everything else.
Because this is grade 2 listed buildings, keeping in with the historic.
That's what I thought that was probably the case, but I was trying to just find something else new that I didn't know about.
Brick of course, but under 25
Councillor Buchanan.
Oh, thank you, Chair. Yeah, just to follow up on that thought, Councillor Hanneman. I think this is a great listed building, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're trying to recreate or maintain the features of it. I would say I would find it difficult to believe that a neighbourhood plan would apply in that sense to this one.
No, I just
Yeah.
think about it.
So,
Yeah, no, it's good that they're looking after the building and bringing it up to date for the residents. Yeah. Councillor Pullman.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I agree with the chimney. The neighbourhood plan, I think, doesn't actually coincide with restoring a historic building. But this is a historic building. We've had so many different applications over the years where they've been restoring it bit by bit by bit.
I think
And
this is
the final phase.
Yeah.
The final phase of
Not
then
lost
getting the
left.
whole building completed. And the housing is for local people, and it's affordable housing.
Yeah.
They're alms houses. So actually, this is the best kind of housing that that we want, and this is what we keep asking for. So I totally support it.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so it was proposed by Councillor Lord, seconded by Councillor Buchanan. Can I have a show of hands supporting this application? And that's unanimous.
But it's not on my job.
LW/24/0714, 2 Furl Drive, single storey rear extension. Councillor Borman?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm happy to support this. I was actually quite surprised of how tiny it was compared to the rest of the building, but I'm happy to support it.
It's footprints on the ground. On the ground, you came out.
Could you just speak into this for a moment?
Councillor Richard Humner?
Yes, as Councillor Bourne says, yeah, it's quite a small extension, but it lines up with next door, doesn't it, on the back, so it's all quite nice and cute. But actually, the other side's a bigger property, isn't it? They sort of further back with their extensions. I don't know if they've got an outhouse right at the very end, but that's not relevant. But I support this, yes.
Yeah, I think
So
so.
you second?
Yeah, that's fine.
Any other comments? And can I have a show of hands for supporting this application? That's
Wish I had a
unanimous.
garden like that, but still.
LW/24/0726, 12 Green Walk, 2 single-storey rear extensions, installation of an air source heat pump and solar panels, carport and shed to the east side with fenestration alterations. Right, let's lead on this one. Councillor Richard Humman?
The extensive properties anyway on this particular private road in Seaford, and I think what they're doing, basically, it's but while they're having to do renovation at the same time, they improve the building, so I'll be happy to support.
Yeah, definitely.
Councillor Bourne?
Yeah, I'm quite happy to second that proposal. So when I first read two rear extensions, I was like, oh, what are we going to see? And then when you look at it, it's actually squaring up the building. They're just infills. So happy to second it.
Yeah.
Councillor Olivia Hummer?
Yeah, and I agree with the comment that one of the residents made, that it's going to, I've seen the house, and it will make it much tidier, and it fits because it's Green Walk and they're all big houses around them anyway.
Yeah.
So it fits having the extra extensions on.
Okay, right, so can I have a show of hands for supporting this application? And that's unanimous.
Doing well tonight.
Where did you get the money from? That's what I'm trying to go.
LW/24/0734. 7 Lines Place, 2-storey side extension to form an annex accommodation with an open undercroft parking area to the lower ground floor. Councillor Richard Humnan.
Yeah, so it was interesting because if you look at Lyons Place and Fitzgerald Avenue, you've got different levels anyway, and we knew a former councillor who lived in one of these houses around here, so we sort of know that sort of area reasonably well. But what they're trying to do would work further up. The only thing I'm worried about is the flooding side, but then you've always got properties around really close to the seafront, isn't there? In a lot of ways, flooding issues. I think it's just about a floodplain, and if worst come to the worst up here. Apart from that, I'd be happy to support it. It is quite unique.
Councillor Olivia Hanneman.
Just about the flood query, it was put in the notes that there's not being built where the flood plain is. That's why everything's being built above it, so it's not, that doesn't affect it. The thing I was initially, because it says same height, depth and width is existing, then of course you look at the neighbour plan and says no, it's got to be subservient. So that's my query. It is meant to be subservient to the main building before it's extended on.
Councillor Foreman.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So the lower ground floor is just a carport. There's no living space, that's not affected. But yes, it's the huge size of it. It's more than the same width as the normal house, which is a total no-no. Side extensions can't be more than 50% of the main dwelling.
The host
So
dwelling, yeah.
so this is more like double the size. It's also, as Councillor Honeyman says, it's well, the ridge height's not lower, it's not set back, it's just so over the top, and it just really makes you think that the size of it is not going to be an annex, because an annex is small. This is another another dwelling it is going to be. And when you look at the inside plans, there is just one small doorway on the ground floor one in between the two properties, but that would be so easy there to not actually build a doorway or to block it off so it then is a separate dwelling. But yeah, the sheer size of it is just too much, so I would object to this.
Councillor, you're quite right, I hadn't thought of it like that.
So,
Yeah.
go on, you go.
Councillor Cannon.
Thanks, yeah. I mean, notwithstanding issues in the neighbourhood plan necessarily, but isn't this the kind of accommodation that the local plans are going to be aiming at?
Not an annex. It's not an additional property.
It is indeed arguably an additional property.
Not an annex isn't.
An annex can be something that can be lived in separately by all accounts, because I had an annex refused because I couldn't make my 2 rooms downstairs look as if you could get in independently. But yeah, I'm just thinking kind of out loud. This is kind of thing that the local plan will be thoroughly aiming at. And if it's not today, it will come back at another time.
I mean, it's against our neighbourhood plan
Mm-hmm.
at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we've got to discuss at the moment.
Yes, yes.
Councillor Richard Hannon.
Well, I like the principle of what they're doing, essentially. And yeah, there is this thing about it, should it be, how far should it be subservient? But we have seen examples where it's a big extension, when it's not really like a mini extension. Well, it depends, doesn't it? You can have a side extension where that would have to go back a metre or metre, depending again on that particular side, if it's one layer or one level or 2 levels. But this particular one, I can see, it does look like a complete separate flat, effectively, isn't it? But is that right or wrong? Or we can always test it out and see what happens. I mean, if we're going to vote one way or other, I'd be interested to see what district council thinks of it.
Well,
the principle, I agree with it.
You did support.
I still sort of support the principle of what they're doing, and I quite like where it is and the space for it. But should it be of this size? That's the question. Which we'll see what the other councils think. I'll support this, and yeah.
Does that find a seconder? Right.
Softball.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
And
Just to Councillor.
and then we've got a second proposer objecting to this application. Does that find a seconder? Councillor Clay. Right, we have to do the first one by Councillor Richard Hanneman, that we support this application, which is supported, which is seconded by Councillor Cannon. Those in favour show their hands.
We've got reservations, Chair, obviously.
And those against? So that's lost. We now have a proposal of objecting to this application on the grounds of
Going against our neighbourhood plan for not being subservient, both in the height and not set back, being more than 50% of the host dwelling, as it's classed as an extension.
and that is seconded by Councillor Clay. And can I have a show of hands of objecting to this application? And those against? And that's carried. Thank you.
They get built anyway, so don't worry about it.
At some point it might do, but
Actually,
That's quite exciting.
Well,
it's a nice house now.
It's got 2 kitchens.
be interesting to see where it ends up, Chair, won't it?
We
This
did
one.
have one
It does go to committee.
letter of supporting that application.
Yeah, that was his
From the
mother.
neighbour across the road.
That was his mother.
I thought it would make the area look good, but it's just, it's the subservient thing and it doesn't with them.
Right, so
Build it as a second property and say it's a second property.
Yeah.
That's
And-
different
and-
than actually
and-
saying it's a
and tell
side extension
And tell the truth, yeah.
because that's not an annex.
right, moving on to LW/24/0736, 6 Mason Road, single storey rear extension. They're popular tonight, aren't they? Open to the
That's
committee.
why we could stop it
Councillor
all.
Borman.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, it's a small extension and you can't see it from the front and it will accomplish obviously everything that they want, so quite happy to support it.
Can I find a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Olivia Hurley. Any more comments? Can I have a show of hands supporting this application? That's unanimous. LW/24/0732, 142 to 152, 154 to 164, and 166 to 172 Hythe Crescent, replacement of windows/doors.
Yeah.
Councillor Borman?
Thank you, Chair. This is a Lewis District Council application and I remember when I was living around the corner they could have done with being replaced back then. So I'm quite happy to support this.
Yeah.
Okay. Will I find a seconder?
Sorry, can I just make one thought?
Yeah, Councillor Olivia Hurley and Councillor
Oh,
Buchanan.
thank you, Chair. All these things that these guys fill out, checklists, it's the sustainability checklist. There's one item here that says, circular economy, consider the waste hierarchy, tick if met. And then it says evidence, where stroke how. And they fill it in with existing windows and doors can often be recycled. It doesn't actually say that's what they're going to do. It's just an observation that, you know, that's a bit of greenwashing in a way. I mean, I support the whole concept, but these
This
things
is the
are-
Lewis
I was
District.
going to say take it up with your councillors.
It is Lewis District Council application. Yeah.
Just for that, Chair, with regards to recycling, if it is deemed to be a recyclable plastic, there's different types of UPVC which they use for this type of system. There's some, and it gets reused, and it gets reused. You know the PV, so insulating copper cables.
Mhm.
No, a lot of it goes for reuse for that, but it has to be a particular type of grade of PVC which they can use, and some of it which they tried reusing, when it comes in contact with daylight, recycled UPVC, it actually turns red, believe it or not, or pink. So it has to be a particular type of, and you know when you've taken it out to test it to decide what you can do with it. And a lot of it is used basically for insulating copper cables. Not all of it, but some of it does. And some of it you can't use for love and money, it goes to landfill, but there you go.
I mean, we could put the comment, say, if possible.
If possible, yeah.
If possible,
If possible.
can
But
the
if it's-
old
if- but
windows be recycled?
If it's actually
All the
been used,
materials from the windows.
if it's been used underground, that's fine, but it comes in contact with ultraviolet light, doesn't like it, sure.
Okay, so can I have a show of hands for supporting this application? And that's unanimous. Tree Works.
Uh-oh.
TW/24/0110/TPO, 6 Rodine Close.
Yep.
And you've got a number of trees there, but they're just basically cutting back.
Can we take them all together, Chair?
Councillor Lord,
Can we take them all together?
yes.
Well, the old TPOs, they do basically a straightforward coppice on them, 30% reduction, what have you, crown raise, crown reduction. Somebody knows what they're doing. So rather than voting individually, I just think she said that they've actually got somebody who's submitted a proper application in, and I just support the application.
Thank you. Does that find a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Richard Hunterman. Any other comments? Can I have a show of hands supporting this application? Thank you. 2W/24/0124/TPO Homeshore House, 92 Sutton Road. Councillor Borman is not commenting on this application, so open to the committee.
Again, for you,
Councillor
Chair,
Hall.
it's been done correctly, done properly. It's been done by a consultant who actually knows what he or she is doing, and they coded it between yellow and green. So as far as I'm concerned, I've really not got a problem with things. This is where I'm happy with the tree condition survey. It's when we get something like trying to cut a tree down on the road and go for the fact you're in deep water, and I'm quite happy to support this application.
Does that find a seconder? That's Olivia Hunterman.
Yeah, can I just make an observation as well from what Councillor Lord has said, that it's really good to have this much information,
Yes.
and the fact we've got the common name and the Latin names, and it's really useful.
Absolutely.
Well, you just get the feeling that the trees
Rather
are
than
being
just
looked
saying we're going to do a
after.
lollipop or we're going to cut a tree down, this,
Yeah.
that is absolutely spot on. That's what I expect from any consultant to do any tree books.
Thank you. So can I have a show of hands of supporting this application? It's unanimous. SDNP/24/04921/TCA Plumbers, the Street, Bishopstone Village. Like to read on this application? Councillor Lord? Oh, right.
No,
Councillor
I don't steal
Olivia
your thunder.
Hunter.
No, I was just going to say I support this, but if they've all got Dutch elms leaves, it's the right thing to do, they have to remove them.
Mm.
So I support this application to unfortunately lose trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's whether at some point they'll be able to replant and maybe something with a tree that's not Dutch elm. I
Not
know
elm.
there are some elms that aren't
Are
getting
resistant,
resistant
Yeah.
to
Some have
Dutch
been
elm.
planted in the village, but I think it'd be nice to, you know, if there is sort of some sort of programme for
Plant
replanting.
beach or something, but I don't know. I support what Councillor was saying, and I think we've been pulling them up like they were out of fashion, and what we've been doing now, we can't plant oak because oak got this oak moth disease, right? That's killing all oaks off that oak trees, whatever. Anyway, so we started planting beech. It seems to be a tough old sod beech, doesn't it? So I would love, no, if you've got to come out, can we recommend that you put beech back? Or a similar native English hardwood? And I'd be more than happy to support that. But oak trees, now there's this little moth or something coming on. There's a moth coming from France or somewhere, typical. And what is it? It started killing oak trees off. So a 200-year-old tree, about damaged about as big as that. A moth, that big, it started killing it off. And you can't buy an oak sapling for love nor money because of this disease which is spread through oak trees. I've planted an area for oak trees, that's another story. But anyway, so what I'm saying is that let's look at putting an English native hardwood similar tree back, presumably beech. Because the present ones, the other ones that are surviving.
And likes chalk.
Right?
Soil. And likes chalk.
It likes
soil.
chalk and it likes salt, and it doesn't mind being by the sea, and it's quite a tough old sod as well, you know.
Okay, right, thank you. So can I have a proposer and seconder, Councillor Hanlon, and seconded by Councillor Buchanan, and can I show hands of supporting? That's unanimous.
Yeah, these all are going now.
Item 6, update report on page 11. asked to note the contents of the report unless you've got any questions. Councillor Gorman.
Thank you. Just that it was nice to see Catherine Ray was dismissed at appeal, which supported what we wanted to start with.
Yes,
Councillor Richard Cunningham.
Yeah, I was surprised about the petrol station being no restrictions at all. I thought that was an interesting one.
Yeah,
Unless you got an update.
Well, I was going to say through you, Chair. I just had a little look, and they have actually uploaded. This is what the officer's report is.
It's more about selling alcohol and all that. That was the issue, not so much the petrol.
Applications contain conditions restricting the hours, which is why.
Okay.
Yeah, fully on that,
That's
Okay.
all the things we said though, isn't it?
But but every petrol station in the country sells alcohol 24 hours a day, don't it?
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know why, but still.
And their hours seem to be, they're advertising 6 to 11.
Unless the shop's shut and have automatic doing the,
Mm.
unless they do it, depends how they do it, isn't it?
Mm.
Get petrol, not necessarily other stuff, but we'll have to see what happens, obviously, but that's...
It's not good. Yeah.
Any other comments? So can I have a show of hands of noting the report?
Yeah, I should know the report, yeah.
Okay, noted. Thank you very much. So that concludes the meeting at 4 minutes past 8.
No,